Hi, my name is Parnian, and I'm an alumni from the University of Wisconsin class of 2017. I graduated from UW-Madison with my bachelor's in arts in political science with an emphasis in international affairs and a certificate in European studies. I am a first-generation immigrant and a first-generation college student. I'm currently the Development and Partnerships Manager at a national nonprofit that is headquartered here in Chicago, Illinois. I am also a first-year Master's in Public Policy student at American University's School of Public Affairs in Washington, D.C. I'm currently in the midst of finishing my first semester of graduate school, remote due to the pandemic, but I'm hoping to be out in Washington, D.C. for the spring semester. My academic and professional journey really begins with my acceptance at UW-Madison. When I was accepted to UW-Madison, I was also accepted into the Center for Academic Excellence. At the time, I did not know what this meant. However, little did I know was that the center would become a second home to me, and the students and especially staff members would become like a second family to me. They were there for me through all of the lows when it seemed like nothing could go right, and they were there for me during all of the highs. But more importantly, they were there for me through my entire 4-year journey at UW-Madison, ensuring that I had the tools and resources that I needed to succeed in my classes to get the grades that I needed to later apply for graduate school. And also ensuring that I was building my resume, which I had no idea where to start on for, building my professional skills, and also honing the skills that I already had. Connecting with various people around campus, student organizations, and people outside of the UW-Madison campus. I started my first internship my sophomore year summer at the Center for Academic Excellence, where I conducted research on the history of the program and how it has developed over time to meet the needs of students and ensuring that they are succeeding in their academics. I was able to work with data and also conduct interviews and do a lot of historical research through the UW-Madison archives. The following summer, I had the pleasure of doing more international work, which fell into my interest area. Madison is not exactly the international hub, but I worked hard to find a nonprofit foundation that did work that fell within my interest areas. I ended up working under 2 supervisors for doing research and creating projects for the topic of nuclear weapons and nonproliferation, as well as for population growth and its impact on climate change. This internship really allowed me to use creativity and apply some of the skills that I had learned in class, such as my strong writing and communication skills. Throughout this internship, I was able to network with my supervisors and other staff members who have had experiences in cities such as Washington, D.C., for federal government sectors, as well as for the local Madison government and as well as the state government. This really allowed me to build my networking to begin with. The next internship that I held was through the Wisconsin and Washington program, which I was accepted into through the Political Science Department and the International Studies Department. I moved to Washington, D.C. with a group of Badgers to finish my last semester of my senior year of college while also holding an internship at the United Nations Foundation just a block away from the White House. Being in Washington, D.C., where so much international work is done every single day, was really what opened my eyes to what my passion is. I was really motivated to move forward with my goals and wanting to work in international policy and make a change in people's lives around the world. When I was in Washington, D.C., I got to work on development and partnerships, which is also my role now. I never knew that I enjoyed fundraising for a cause that I was passionate about until I had this internship. During this internship and being in D.C. was really advantageous to me in the sense of networking. I reached out to multiple people that I never knew, and sometimes I would never get a response, but I learned the hard way that just because someone doesn't respond to you, it doesn't mean that there's anything against you. People are busy, and it's those people that do respond to you and continue building relationships with you that are the ones that are going to continue helping you along the line and who want to see you succeed every single day. So I ended up building a very strong and wonderful networking circle in Washington, D.C. with people outside of my internship, but also with people inside of my internship building. And it really forced me to step out of my comfort zone and reaching out to people who are much further in their professional careers than I am. I was just an intern, but everyone that I reached out to within my organization was more than happy to sit down and speak to me and answer my questions and share about their own professional journey and the skills that they have had to build throughout their careers. Once I moved back to Madison to graduate, I sat down really to figure out, where do I want to be next? Where am I at in my life right now? Who are my contacts? Who are people that I want to have in my contacts? I really started to also think about where my passions and skills and past experiences could be best put to use next. And that's what led me to my current job here in Chicago. I've been in my role for over 2 years now, and I've loved every single minute of it. It has helped shape me even more as a professional in a new city. And I think that has also helped diversify my networking pool of mentors and contacts as well. Being in my role, I have now reached my full potential and don't see any more room for growth. And that was really the signal for me that it is time to go to graduate school, which I've always had as a goal. I ended up reaching out to many of my contacts, letting them know the exciting news that I was preparing to apply for graduate school and get their advice on the process that they went through when they went to graduate school, and also any advice that they may have during my first year of school, because I knew that it would be a completely different ballgame than undergrad. Being able to reach out to my professional contacts was extremely helpful in learning about their graduate school experiences. I was also able to go back to one of my CAE contacts. Despite no longer being a student, I sent out an email to get advice from this staff member who helps undergraduate students with pre-graduate school counseling. It was really helpful to connect with this individual and get their input on my statement of purpose and other materials that I would be sending in for my graduate schools. During my undergraduate, I also was able to build connections with various faculty members whose research areas I was really interested in. One faculty member in particular I grew very close with, as my interest in international affairs very closely aligns with theirs. Building these relationships out of pure joy of the work that they do also led to having really incredible letters of recommendation written for my graduate school applications. It was such a joy to be able to share with my letters of recommendation writers about my acceptances and where I would end up going to school. It is also really great to know that they're always there for me if I need to talk through a research topic that I want to write about in grad school. So overall, my network is never done growing. I always encourage people to continue adding people into your network. It can definitely be hard to cold email people or reach out via LinkedIn, but it is a hurdle that we all have to get over. Building your resume can also be difficult if you don't know where to start. As an undergrad, I would recommend taking advantage of any resources that the university has in terms of building your professional interviewing skills, building your resume, having cover letters looked at. It's nothing that I'm even perfect at this point. I always seek help from my mentors and my network when I am applying to something new, because it is always great to have an extra set of eyes on things. Some of the skills that I have found to be critical to success in my profession has been taking risks and patience. Now, these seem easier said than done, but being patient is very important. This is not a race. It is a sprint. And that is hard when you're not exactly where you want to be. I will say that although I am extremely happy to be now on my graduate school journey, I know that there's a whole other world ahead of me, and I am so excited to see what that is. But I know that it will require a lot of patience and hard work. And within the taking risks could be anything from moving to a new city to applying to something that you might not think that you're 100% qualified for, but the employer is so excited to have you in their applicant pool and does actually think that your skills and your experiences are applicable and that there are adjustments that can be made. I would also say some other skills would be writing skills and organizational skills. Writing skills and communication skills are extremely important no matter what profession you're in. You have to be able to communicate with your team members, with your supervisor, with people within your company or outside of your company. And writing skills are important even when you're writing an email. You want to make sure that you are using the correct grammar and that you are sounding professional. And it is also important when you have to write up reports or do any sort of research or writing something for a client, whatever it may be. It is always good to have good writing skills. Lastly, I would say that being in graduate school and also working, it can be hard to stay focused sometimes. Now also that we are living in a pandemic, I think that it's even harder at times to stay focused. And the ways that I usually suggest for people to stay focused is setting daily goals for yourself of what you want to accomplish. Everyone is different in the way that they like to stay focused. For me, I need some time to step away from my computer, to give my eyes some rest and really focus on myself, whether that is working out, taking a long walk, drinking some tea, reading a book, or just binging Netflix. We do what we have to do to take care of ourselves to make sure that we can continue on to our professional journey. Overall, I would also say a way to stay focused is to make sure you are not getting burnt out. When you get burnt out, being focused becomes even more difficult. I'm a visual person, so I like to write things down that I have due. It can also be helpful to stay focused, to have a vision board for yourself or to journal. Whatever it may be, we're all different, but it is always worth to reach out to people to ask them how they like to stay focused, because you never know if their way can work for you as well. Overall, I would say that I am excited for where I am headed next. I know that I have a lot of growth still to do as a young professional, and I'm not sure where I'll be next year in terms of my professional career, but I am excited to continue exploring and learning. And a message that I want to give to all of you is that being a part of the Badger community is something extremely special. The Badger community is very tight-knit, and we're always there for each other. And I think I realize that even more now that I'm an alumni. No matter where you are in the world and no matter what point in your life you are, your Badger community will always stand behind you and will always be there for you when you need help. So make sure to reach out to a Badger, because we've ultimately all been there. Thank you.